All right, let's talk about pirates. Why should we talk about pirates? You look at me quizzically. Let's talk about pirates because Harvard Business Review did an article saying what can pirates teach us about leadership. So, what's my favorite pirate movie? Of course, it is Pirates of the Caribbean. Now, two central figures on Pirates of the Caribbean. You have on one hand Captain Jack Sparrow, on the other hand, Mr. Gibbs. Now, what do we see Captain Sparrow doing? He's got the compass, he steers the ship. He's making sure that the entire crew is going in the direction that they're supposed to go into. Do we ever see Captain Sparrow, doing requisitions for rum? Do we ever see Captain Sparrow, filling out TPS reports, making sure the proper cover sheet is on there? No, that's why we have Mr. Gibbs. On pirate ships, they figured this out hundreds of years ago. There should be a distinct difference between the role of the leader and the person who is managing, that's not a real word, managing the ship. So you have the captain and you have the quartermaster. I think in education, we can learn something from that. And what I'm going to propose today, by the way, my name is Brian Williams. I'm the assistant principal at an elementary school. What I'm going to propose today is that we need to have a restructuring in the way we do school leadership. The benefits of that, what's in it for our stakeholders, would be an increased focus on mission and vision, the ability to look in broad terms at data, and time to be able to coach and work with employees. Which in all of these things we're going to look at through the lens of improving student achievement. So, dealing with vision and mission. In 1785, Jeremy Bentham invented the panopticon. For those of you that don't know, it's basically a jail. We talked about pirates, now let's talk about jails. It's a jail that has a central tower that's surrounded by glass. The guards from the inside can see out, the prisoners can't see in. So the prisoners always think that they're being watched. They never know if what they're doing is being observed. So that gave the guards the sense of omniscience. So when we're thinking about Jeremy Bentham and omniscience, the way that we can know everything is by being able to see things other people cannot. And that's where a leader has to be. He has to be in a position where he or she can see things that other people do not have the ability to see. We see in shows like Undercover Boss on CBS that we like our leaders to push up their sleeves and go and do a real day's work. Well, if you're down on the factory floor, you can see what's happening on the factory floor. And you can even make minor adjustments, help production. But where you're going to make the most change is when you're up at the balcony. When you can see the entire floor, you have the vision to be able to see how is what we're doing affecting the mission and vision that we set out at the beginning of the year or the beginning of our company. So you have that ability to say, let's stay the course. This is our mission, this is our vision, this is what we plan out to do, let's do it. Now, as we're bringing in data, as I said, everybody, in America, rugged individualists, we want our leaders to be with the troops. But one of my favorite stories is, if you're traveling through a jungle and you're chopping away and chopping away and chopping away at all of the brush in front of you, and you're doing a great job, you're helping out, your troops love you, but it's that guy in the helicopter who's flying over top of you that says, you're going in the wrong direction. So you need to be able to take a step back and figure out where do we need to go. And this is where data comes into play. If the leader does not have a broad view of the data, they don't know which direction they need to go in. If the mission says that we're going in one direction and the data says that we're going in another direction, the leader has to be able to make that change. I call that the paradox of perseverance. The ability to persevere with the mission and to go in one direction, but once you realize that it's not the right direction, you have to be able to say, even though we did all that work, we need to make a change. Lastly is dealing with coaching. You know, one of my, I guess I shouldn't admit this, but one of my favorite movies is Major League with Charlie Sheen. And in that movie there's a scene where the coach is asking Charlie Sheen, you have two runners running from home to first base. One of the runners has perfect form. The other runner has terrible form, but they both get there at the same time. Who do you let on the team? Well, he says, you let the one with terrible form. Why? Because if they can both get there at the same time, and you can fix the form of the other runner, they will be far faster than the person with perfect form. Coaching in our organizations is a very important role. Jim Collins talks about in his book, The Hedgehog, Good to Great, the hedgehog concept. It's, comes from Aesop's fables, where the hedgehog only does one thing well. It rolls up in a little ball and has little spikes around it. The fox, on the other hand, does several things well, but no matter how much the fox tries, he cannot get the hedgehog, because the hedgehog just does one thing really well. And that is a parable that Collins has adapted to talk about discipline in our organizations. Coaching helps us stay disciplined, stay focused. And really, when we think about our organization, it's not our all-stars. We don't make our money on our top 3 teachers. What really impacts student achievement is when everyone in the organization is doing well. A leader with time can take a step back and say, where are my weak links? As JFK said, the rising tide raises up all ships. So giving the leader the time to do the coaching will make the organization more effective. So, to conclude, what I want you to think about is the fact that in our current system, leaders are bogged down too much in managerial tasks. They need time to lead. We need to think out of the box ways to restructure the system of leadership that we have. That will not only, with a clearly defined role, that will not only improve job performance, but it will also improve job satisfaction. So think about it in your own organizations. If I tell you the statistic that 76% of your time is spent on managerial tasks versus leadership tasks, you shouldn't believe it, because I just made it up. But what you should do is think about, in your own organizations, how much time are you spending worrying about, do I have the correct cover sheet? Or how much time are you spending saying I'm actually improving this organization? Thank you.